nobody's getting into it. And in the next few months, I'm going to get into it myself and do it like right on camera. It's my whole dream, my real dream of total regeneration. Like, I've read stories of dudes that have grown new teeth, new hair, and lived to be like 185 years old by using these principles, which cellular regenerate. Hard to believe, but there's a biography, Maharaj Tavaspaji. And it's called Google Kayak Alpha treatment. Check it out. Maybe take notes or something. It's called Kayak Alpha. They've used it in India for a long time. The yogis have a lot of tricks. Kayak Alpha, K-A-Y-A-K-A-L-P-H-A. It's a regenerative treatment. They use herbs and silence and darkness and meditation and K-A-Y-A-K-A-L-P-H-A.
What about an Arabic diet and how they eat in India? A lot of spices, curries. What do you think about that?
I think spices are good to increase the appetite. Certain herbs are beneficial blood cleansers. I think they could eat more raw food in the Ayurvedic, but you can apply Ayurvedic principles to raw food with enough education, which I do. I do use a little more fats, nuts, and sauces like that to keep myself grounded.
What about brain fog? Does it go away fairly quick when you start going straight into juice and that sort of stuff?
The brain fog will start to clear, but a lot of it is long-term chronic waxy buildup, and most humans have that. Too much milk, too much cooked food, grains. It leaves a waxy substance all throughout the upper thoracic area, and you really need to move your lymphatic system and dissolve a lot of those accumulations. There's inflammation in the brain, which again keeps the cells from communicating. So the ultimate healing is fasting, water fasting. That's the ultimate healing of all time. The next layer would be the mono fruit diets. Try eating grapes for 21 days and watch what happens. You'll have some weakness. Grapes. Or my friend Lou ate a watermelon for 45 days. I've heard of tons of people that have done grape diets. Now it seems a little extreme, but you know, it's the truth. The body has to clean itself out. The debris builds up and you got to get it out of it. And there's so much of it. Most of us are genetically medium. Certain people are genetically stronger, so they have better detoxification enzymes. Most of us are kind of medium constitution, not that strong anymore. We're getting weaker with all the junk food and stuff, and the TV and all the no exercise and disconnection from nature. So we're getting weaker and weaker and weaker. So when you do water fasting, you enhance the genetic expression of detoxification enzymes in the growth hormone. And so water fasting, even once a week, is very good. And then 7 to 10 days, once or twice a year. And at first, to learn how to do like a 21-day water fast, or you know, my friend Lou does a 40. I would love to do a 40 before I leave this planet. It's one of my main goals. It's like one of the main health goals that I have. But it goes beyond health. You're eliminating your debt to nature. All the drugs you smoked, all the people you ripped off, all the things you did that are debts within the body, that have accumulated in the joints and the organs, and you know, those little tissue weaknesses, that little shoulder that gets sore, that little back pain, or the little knee, or your toe, or some little, the toxins build up in wherever there's weakness. So wherever your genetic weakness is, that's where the toxins build up. Your mom might have been addicted to carbohydrates and have a weak pancreas and pass that on to you, where you got a great liver because she didn't eat too much fat. She was really a carb addict and just wore the pancreas out. Pass that on to you. Other people will have we're so stressed out, and then they get pregnant, and then they have adrenal weakness, and they pass that right on to the baby. So I try to tell people, take at least 2 years before you conceive. And young people should start thinking about this now. Take 7 true years to prepare yourself to bring a child into this world. And then you will create a baby with genetic strength, strong immune system, beautiful nervous system, calm, powerful, you know? But there's this dude with brain cancer. He's like, before I die, I want to have another kid. And I'm thinking, you're an idiot. Do you care about your kids? No, you're going to make a baby and you have brain cancer? That's not good. That's not good at all. You don't have cancer and then have a baby. You get rid of the cancer and heal up your body, regenerate yourself. It ain't easy, but if it becomes your hobby and you become interested in it and you immerse yourself in it and you hang around people like me and you build a raw food family and you make friends of people that have done it before, which is pretty rare, it's going to grow and grow. There's going to be more sanitariums, hospitals, healing centers, and people that are going to get the courage to really do the regeneration, which is the cleansing, the detoxing, the rebuilding back with the raw foods. The levels that we can achieve are unknown, but they're infinite. You know, these biographies of these dudes that I read that lived those long lives and grew new sets of teeth. I mean, it took him 90 days. He was old and frail and he was going to go die. He was an old yogi. And this young yogi was like, hey, well, since you're going to die anyways, why don't you let me try this kayakalpa treatment on you? And he's like, okay, do whatever you want with this body. I don't care. I'm just going to lay here and die. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't care. So he gathered the herbs, prepared the herbs in India. So they would use herbs and 1 glass of milk every day. And then the yogi would just be in silence by himself, leave it alone. For the first 2 weeks, he slept. For 2 weeks. He was tired. When you're almost 100 years old, you have no teeth, your hair's all gray, you're tired. So he slept for like 2 weeks. And then he went the full 90 days on the first kayakalpa treatment. And he grew new teeth, brand new hair, muscles, totally young again. That's after 90 days. And then he did another 40-day one many years later, repeated this treatment with the glass of milk and the herbs, and he did it again to do the treatment. Then on the last treatment that he did it for a whole year. He went into the ground, he built a little cave, and he'd only have 2 assistants. You know, one of them would bring the herbs and the milk, the other one would take the bucket of the poop and the pee, and he would just meditate and sleep for 365 days. Came out again and lived to be 185 years old, you know, because he would go in there and he would go in silence, and what happens is that aura just regenerates everything. You get back to the original template of yourself, which is perfect genetic expression. Most of us are constantly barraging our genetic expression with junk food, anger, fear, stress. We're constantly hurting ourselves. You know, when you stop doing that and you go somewhere and you rest for 3 months out at the lake, in the cabin, by yourself, your mind calms down, you take your shoes off, you sleep 12 hours a day, you meditate the other 12, you know, and maybe you have a small meal, you regenerate, you stop hurting yourself. The body regenerates itself. I didn't do anything to this thing. I put my hand through a window about a month ago. It was like that, blood everywhere. I didn't clean it. I put a towel around it for 3 days, and I just left it alone. You don't have to. I could have went and got stitches and done a bunch of stuff and poured stuff on it, and put stuff on it, but it just heals itself. And that's how it is with diseases and everything. The body heals itself when you leave it alone. So the fruits and the vegetables don't really heal you. You just stop killing yourself with junk food. Because the junk food really expresses the genes, the genetics, and it really, the DNA is just unraveling. And people are getting like really out of shape, oblong, strange. But they see a dude like me, this is good. You know, they say I'm too skinny a lot of times. But no, this is perfect. I like it. You saw me do the pull-ups, right? 63 pull-ups, and I could have done more. And I'm really skinny, but it's quality muscle, good quality tissue. That's what you want. You don't want to be big. You just want good quality tissue so that you can function and do your duty. You know, if you want, I do like the beauty aspect of it because it helps me with my career. it helps me to convince you. It's like if I was up here 45 pounds overweight, still had a good rap, you'd be like, oh, okay, he's got a good rap. It makes a little bit of sense. But if I got a good rap, and I'm funny, and I'm smart, and I'm handsome, and I look good, and I ride my bike across the U.S., you're going to think, okay, something this guy's doing is legit. It gives me a little more firepower. That's why I'm kind of paranoid to get the lines on my face and stuff, you know. But that's my work that I have to do to surrender that. We all get old, especially when you ride across 100-degree heat every day, get dehydrated, starving to death, and you're just going on pure firepower, you know. I've aged a lot on this ride, but I've also grown tremendously in courage and willpower and endurance. The mind wants to stop, take a nap, and go eat something weird. But I know I set my intention, fruits and vegetables across the U.S. 3 months, you know. And that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm doing pretty good so far. So, wow, this is an amazing group of people, because usually by now there's a lot of fidgeting, and there's like, okay, that's enough of this. Maybe my power is growing.
Hey Dan, what do you think of the juices, like the goji juice that you can buy from this company, or the nani juice from that company, and also powdered stuff that people mix up? It's supposed to be superfoods and it's good for you, but do you get into any of that?
I think some of the powders are cool to keep on weight, concentrated superfoods and stuff. The stuff in the bottles in like goji juice, cooked. I mean, the cooked food that I've used on this trip is the Welch's 100% grape juice. Because as you cross the Midwest, you got nothing. They don't eat fruits and vegetables out there. They got fried chicken and beef. So I got to stop at these stores and drink 3 or 4 bottles of grape juice so that I can ride another 30 miles to the next town, so I can get a watermelon and some iceberg lettuce. So, but I would rather have a grape juice with enzymes in it. You know, now it's pretty benign. You drink some cooked grape juice, the sugars go in, you burn the sugars. But if I had grape juice with enzymes, that's living grape juice, it feeds the brain so much better. You know? So the goji berries juice and all those things in jars and cans, I mean, I go to the produce section and I see colors, and I see living water, and I see bioavailable electricity. I go to the produce, and then I get like 92% of my stuff. And I go look for some hemp seeds, and every once in a while maybe some kind of raw cracker once a month or something, and some dried apricots or dates, and maybe some sunflower seeds, and I'm out of there. I mean, if you really want to get healthy, here's your prescription. Go to the produce section, fill up your cart with 3 days worth of stuff, go home, juice it up, eat it up, blend it up, make a salad. Just get out of the store before you go into the middle aisles. The boxes, the cans, it's all dead food. There's nothing, like I said, there's nothing bad or wrong. It's just living food is where it is really at for human beings. Chewing on lettuce, I love lettuce, man. I love carrots, cucumbers, apples, oranges, cherries, watermelons, dandelion greens and parsley and all that stuff. Green herbs of the land to heal you, fruits to energize you and enhance you, and the nuts and seeds to help you to keep some weight on, to keep some size and strength. The nuts and seeds will give you power. The nuts and seeds will give you sexual energy too, as well. When you eat too much fruit, you kind of forget it. You're like, I care about it. There might be a beautiful girl right there. You're like, I'm not into it. But eat a bunch of nuts and seeds. You're like, oh yeah, baby. You know what I mean? So it depends on what you want to do with all of it. There's no right or wrong. It's just, if you educate yourself. I keep saying on the last few videos, I'm going to say it again, I feel like I'm one of the most educated raw food educators because I have the bodybuilding and I have the detox. Some of them only have the detox and couldn't tell you how to gain weight at all. They don't know. And then other people, they might only know the bodybuilding and the politically correct nutrition side. You got to have milk and cheese and dairy products and meat. The government books told me. The textbooks that the government and the subsidiaries and the USDA and the milk manufacturers and the meat manufacturers paid to have those textbooks written. And now people, they go to college, read those politically correct textbooks, and tell me how wrong I am all day, every day on YouTube. But I'm a layman who only cares about the truth. I don't care about education. I just want the truth. So if in the search for the truth, somehow I get educated, I read books by men that were dying, used this food, healed their lives, and told me their story. Norman Walker, carrot juice. Robert Morse, oranges. Lou Corona, watermelon, herbs, and water fasting. I go to them, I learn from them, I read their books. Paul Bragg, water fasting. Jay Corditz, the juice man, a friend of mine. Juices, you know? And I learn from them, and I get the general picture. And the general picture is stop making yourself sick. And the cooked foods are so... The thing about cooked foods is maybe in history for survival there was a time when certain herbs heated would neutralize toxicity and allow something that wasn't food to become food. But we've done so much wonderful work. Our gardeners are intelligent. They've gotten rid of the qualities we don't want and brought in the qualities that we do. Now wild plant foods like dandelions and stuff have more power. But these things here are nice because they have less of a toxic load. Now sometimes those little toxins are actually what inspire the cells to act. You know, so dandelion working on the liver, for example. You know, God put that there and Mother Nature teamed up and said, yo, let's make this thing called dandelion. The root, the flower, the stem, and the leaves, we'll make that for the liver. They got together, okay, that's cool. And all the other doctrine of signatures, you know. So you look at a food in nature and it talks to you. And you really can. I lived in the woods for a long time and ate nothing but plants and lived in a tent. And I will tell you right now, the plants will talk to you and they will tell you, I am edible, I am good for this. And you really get out there. Now came back and eating heavier and I'm just trying to act more normal now. I don't do so well sometimes on the videos, but, you know, so, I don't know, I was talking about the plants.
What about juicers? Do you carry one with you? Do you have any small ones that you bring?
On my bicycle, no. It was either camping gear or a juicer, and I chose the camping gear. But when I drive around the country, I have a Vitamix, and of course I'm an educator and a healer, so of course I always have that with me. All the tools in the back of my truck.
What kind of juicer do you think is better?
There is no better juicer, just different. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for the information. Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Check out the videos and stay inspired.
I will. Thank you, then.
Peace be with you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Anybody else? Allergies?
I don't know if it's even seasonal because it seems to be year-round and it's all seasonal.
Allergies are undigested food particles trapped in the body, and your immune system can't handle anymore, so you need to detox. Once you detox, you won't have allergy symptoms anymore. You've probably got, it looks to me like I would say you're a combination of undigested carbs and undigested fats. So if you clean those out, your lymphatic system will take a break, and then it can handle a little pollen, a little dust, a little dander. But a lot of people that have allergies have so much undigested tissue waste in their body that just the slightest amount of pollen, then it's too much. The immune system is constantly working on trying to get rid, which is the lymphatic system, on all that excess undigested cooked food metabolic waste. So raw food again for the win.
How do we develop as spiritual beings when, you need to surround yourself with people who are on a spiritual path, but there just aren't that many people that
you know what I do? What I've done for the past several years is books, DVDs. I listen to Dr. Hawkins over and 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 over. Sometimes all day, every day. Sometimes at night. Turn it on real quiet, leave it in the background. I'll leave Dr. Hawkins on in my room when I leave, and when I come back, the walls are saturated with that consciousness vibration. He's a living master. I keep that in my head. Guess what happens? I get impregnated, and I'm in that field all the time. The more time you spend in those fields, so anything positive, anything uplifting, gangster rap, it's not really going to help you with your spiritual path. Kill everyone. Money, 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 bitch. That's not going to work. But if you keep yourself with Dr. Hawkins, or you listen to, I listen to my friend Robert Morris. I've watched his DVD, which is a 16-hour DVD on regeneration. I've watched that 100 times, and I don't take notes, but I took notes on that. I constantly saturate myself with educational materials, and I always try to keep myself in that field. Satsang with other individuals, ashrams, go to, hang out, meditation retreats. Always make those conscious choices to put yourself in those fields of energy. You can either go to the bar. You have the choice. You can go to the bar and go hang out go try to find a wife there, or you can go to the meditation retreat, the raw food yoga meditation retreat, and try to meet a wife there. What is your success for more happiness? Probably on this side over here, because of the expansiveness of the consciousness of that type of energy. She's probably going to eat better. She's probably going to be less promiscuous. She's going to be less drunk. She might be a better communicator. Tapped into the God thing. You know what I'm saying? So we have the choice. And that's how I've had this much success in all this. Is that I wasn't part of my conscious plan. I just began to realize that if I just saturated myself and kept myself in those fields of energy, I'd study relationships, I'd break up with my girlfriend, and I'd study relationships for 3 months. And I'd just saturate my brain. I'd be like, okay, this is what I did wrong, this is what I'll do better next time. And it helps me to heal. Otherwise, I could be sad for a year later. But my girlfriend and I, we broke up. I was hella sad, and it took me about a month. I was like, well, I'm free now. This is cool. Let's have some fun, And I learned everything I could about relationships. It inspired me, and then I would listen to relationship CDs and DVDs, and I would learn about that aspect. Now everyone wants to learn about the health. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some CDs and make them available like for MP3s and be like, hey, this is Dan the Man, what's up? Have you had your fruit and vegetables today? You better do it, because you need to bounce in that rebounder, get that butt moving, because you can lose a lot of weight and feel better if you eat the raw foods. This will be a 20-minute motivational, MP3, DVD thing, and you can go up. Everybody comes to watch the videos and like, I'm glad I watched this video before I went to the store and got those cookies. I'm going to get some cherries, These videos are saving people from making those choices. I go in here, after 11 years on raw foods, I go in here and I say, God, it'd be sure nice to try some of those cookies or something. But I make the choice to set a good example, because I want the results of living this way. I want to feel good. I want to look good. I want to be a good example. And I want that light to come through as much as possible. And I have a long-term goal, which is total regeneration. Physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And it is a challenge to create those conditions. And it's my lifelong dream. And it'll have to do with fasting, raw foods, some of that Kaya Kalpa treatment, silence, surrender, learning how to be alone for long periods of time while the energy just heals me. Get to know myself. What do I really want? Not with the outside influences of even my trusted friends. I'll take their advice. I'll listen to their advice and take it in. But I need to go and find out what's right for me. I have a lot of women advisors. You should really be with me. I'm the one for you. And it's like, okay, that's cool. It's good advice. But I need to go find out, what do I really want? What's important to me? Right now, being celibate is very helpful. Very helpful for the energy. And it's really helpful for riding your bike across the U.S. The more testosterone you have, the better. I'm afraid if I did anything, I'd have to sleep for like a week. And I would be like, screw this ride.